The American Jewish community has a major influence on Israeli-American relations, but today Knesset member Dr. Aliza Lavie is here in the studio to talk about how Israel can improve its relationship with the Jewish community itself. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So to begin, you've just returned from a major conference in Washington. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, actually it's a meeting that Israeli that decided to live in the States, to build their home and families and live out of Israel in the States. And suddenly they felt that something is missing in their life, and they are trying to create a community that together that they can, describe a little bit or find their identity. What it means to be Israeli out of Israel. And one thing that I, can speak about is the title that they chose. We are the American Israeli, and the word Jewish is not there. So I asked myself the other day that I met the general director of this organization, Shoham, his name, and he told me a little bit about the organization and what is behind and why they want, to start this committee. And it started a few years ago. And he told me, Aliza, now we are looking for our identity. We found ourselves as a Hebraic Israeli. And I asked myself, what does that mean? He said to me, I really don't know. That's why I would like to invite you to this conference that you just mentioned. We are bringing Israelis from all kinds of fields in Israel, and also people that Israeli American, and together we want to elaborate the discussion and find ourselves what it means for us, but more than that, for our kids. Because, these kids, most of them, they are studying in the schools that, regular school, public school, no Jewish education, no Israeli education, and most of the families prefer to speak with the kids, or the kids prefer to speak in English. By the way, the language in this conference is not Hebrew, is English. It means a lot. So what are we going to do? And if this question for this organization is only for this generation, or it will switch to the next generation. Because, the other day I went to Georgetown University Law School. I was invited Friday night, dinner. They once a month meet together, the Jewish students in this law school, one of the best in the States. By the way, 30% of them are Jews. And when I spoke with them, I met some students. They told me that their parents are Israeli. So I asked myself, what did this mean? I mean, about the sentence that I said before about how
they identify,
because they identify themselves as American student, as Jewish American student, but not Israeli. My parents, they said, moved from Israel, but they are Israeli.
So what's really interesting about that is you think about, okay, well, as a Jewish person living in the United States who may not have a direct connection to Israel, do you have an obligation to Israel in any way? And will somehow, enhancing the relationship between Israeli Jews and American Jews make it so that that American Jewish community somehow feels closer to Israel?
I see in this organization, I can't say the word, redemption, but it's something that started a process of thinking here and in the States. What I mean by that, we used to think about Israeli that prefer to live not in Israel. We call them Yordim, people they prefer to leave us. And more than that, in Hebrew, it's something that Yordim, it means that, you go down.
Right. When you make aliyah, when you immigrate, you're going up?
Yes, because in Hebrew, it's meaning, what it means, aliyah. Why aliyah? We are, olim l'Israel, we are coming to Israel, but in Hebrew it's more than that because it's something spiritual.
It's the process of going up.
Yes, going up to Jerusalem. Also, we are going to Jerusalem, going up to Jerusalem again. So it's geographic, mountain and spirituality, and you know the Holy Land. So when you leave the Holy Land, you are not living, you are going down. So we used to think, and I think it's a process from thinking about going down and partner. I mean, we have to see our brothers and sisters that decide not to live here in Israel as family, as one family, and more than that, to think together about their kids, about their children, because it's our children. Some of them, you know, they are coming, making aliyah, serving in the army, chayalim bodedim, lonely soldiers. We have to hug them. Some of them decide, you know, to convert because, you know, as I know, that we have a simulation, including the Israeli people.
So what is the future, you know, what does the future hold in terms of improving how the Jewish diaspora feel about Israel itself?
We have to put these questions on the table, that's first of all, and to be aware that everything that we decide here in Israel, if we speak about legislations and about statements or titles in the newspaper or interviews, it's reflect our brothers and sisters, the Jewish diaspora. First of all, we have to be aware of this. And second thing, we have to think together and come back to the table and create a dialogue and understand that we have one future for all of us and more sensitive and more than that responsibility in both sides.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
And I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Thank you. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.